Live, everybody. What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? I'm not sure what day it is, but I hope you're having a good day. I'm Birdie. What's going on, buddy? Dennis, how are you? Jed, Annie Diamond, Mary Burke, how are you? Give people a chance. Got my spot at a United Shores campground. Woo woo. What? That's awesome, man. The Wiz is in the house. Sergeant Major, what's up? What's up, Eric? Nikolai, Scott Tagata, John Burrows. John says, "Hi, Matt. I love these evening shows because John spends his whole day out playing pickleball." We were at the mall. Courtney and I were at the mall tonight. We've been walking the last couple of days, making a point to go and take a nice brisk walk in the evening, and it was really brisk today. So we went down to the mall and did about 6 hot laps, and then up on the top floor of the old mall, Dick's has a clearance area in there. And we went through, and I see a bunch of pickleball. What?
Paddles and
Paddles?
balls.
Paddles are called rackets. John, paddles, rackets. I don't know. Something. Had a great meeting today with all of my partners for Walleye Fest. We got a bunch of stuff hammered out and figured out. And listen, we got to start selling some tickets too. We're at 200 today, 200 even right now as we at this moment. 200. Okay. Saturday is going to be the first drawing for the raffle based on your ticket number that you have. So right now there's 200 people in this Saturday's raffle. If you want to get in on this raffle, and once you buy your ticket, unless you win, you're eligible for every one of the raffles from now until there's going to be 9 of them total. And we have some great prizes. One of my partners today said he might be able to. I got a couple people working on maybe some signed SU gear is one of the prizes. We have gift cards. We have gift certificates to restaurants. We have tackle. We have all kinds of stuff that every week we're going to be giving stuff away. So, and that's just, we're giving that away just to say thank you for buying your ticket. $25. Get your Red Hot Derby tickets while they last. Or while they last. There's no end to them, but you know, it sounds cooler when you say while they last. Get them while they're hot. Pow pow. Merlin, Eric, Nikolai, Scott Tagata, John Burrows.
You sound like a priest.
I'm doing Sunday service here. Louis LaPlante, Jim G, Jim Wild Brookies. Listen, Jim Wild Brookies, if you're sitting there on some little tiny stream up the Adirondacks and all of a sudden you hear through the trees, Jim Wild Brookies, you're going to shit your pants. You're going to be like, what? We're the show we're watching right now on Hulu is called People of Earth, and it's actually pretty funny. I mean, I think it's supposed to be a comedy, but it's pretty funny because there's like 3 different kinds of aliens, and they all live among us, and it's all a big conspiracy from the aliens to like control the people, and everybody's been being abducted and whatnot. So, Jim, I'm not saying that you're going to get abducted in the middle of the woods while you're chasing wild brookies, but if you hear somebody like that, run. Run. Unless you got a big fish on. Down Terry, what's going on, buddy? Rumble Seat. Everybody loves Rumble Seat. Rumble Seat could have his own show. Joseph Zeski, how are you? Joseph DiPetro, greetings from Earth. I don't think so. Scott Duranda, how are you? Courtney K, how are you? She's right there. I know how she is. Hot mama. Eric Wisniewski, where is the number on ticket? Oh, I see it. Dubois. Chris Bryan. Yeah, I think I didn't look. We got to be at 60 days, I think. 60 or 61 today. Brian Hammond, what's up, buddy? Hammer time in the house. Oh, whoa, whoa. Couldn't resist that. Either that or have a heart attack. You know, it's funny. So I don't know how many of you guys on here are hunters. I'm a hunter. I've been a hunter all my life. And you know, it's funny. So Jim Wild Brookies is saying, I was just teasing with him a little bit. He goes, I do hike in there a lot alone too. And what's that?
John is drinking, and somebody told him to put a napkin in his black collar so he looks like a priest.
Oh, Jesus God.
You need help.
And I've been in a lot of remote places, and certainly when I used to guide caribou hunters up in the Arctic. I mean, you know, you went out on snowmobile. My buddy Robin and I, Jesus, I don't even know how far we were back. 50 plus miles. It was 30 below zero. Him and I are both on one snowmobile. We hunted all day that day. Found 5 caribou. We shot 4 of them. Hooked all 4 of them up to the sled. We had a Tundra, and hooked all 4 of them up to the sled with him and I on it and all of our gear, and drove back like 50, 60 miles. I mean, we were frozen solid by the time we got back. You know,
Like
those.
Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah. All right, peanut gallery.
Did you have dried boogers in your?
And you know, you get out in spots like that, and you're like, and it makes you wonder. You know, you're out there all alone, and then you're like, well, geez, am I really out here all alone? And I'm not going to say that I necessarily believe in Bigfoot or not, although
Yes, you do.
I mean, I do. I do. I believe in the portion of it that I believe it could certainly be true and real. And there are places on this earth, on dry land and underwater, that we don't know. Even still on this planet, that is for the most part completely unexplored. So, you know, you get out there in those moments, or even out in, you know, when you're out on the lake or whatever, and you're like, man, you know, especially like I've been out on Lake Ontario, especially in days where you have a little bit of ground fog or something. You know, you could be 10, 12 miles offshore easy or more and not seashore. And you're like, you know, you ever wonder? And I always look around, even on a night of lake when I go out in the morning, and a lot of times in the summer, I'm out before daylight, and I'm always looking. You know, I'm always looking to see, is that light supposed to be there, you know, or is that moving in a weird way, or is that a plane? And of course, just to the south shore, you know, we have Syracuse Airport. So there is a lot of plane traffic, but I always look, because you never, you know, you really honestly never know. You know, you just don't know. Sasquatch. Rick Menzel, Nanu Nanu. How did he do it? Mork for Mork, man. I watched
Say it in his voice.
Nanu Nanu. Yeah, I don't know. Robin Williams. That was the height, in my opinion, of Robin Williams comedic genius. We're really off topic and we're bouncing around, but I'm just answering questions, and listen, if you want to put me back on topic, ask me a question and we'll talk about it. How about that? I don't really have anything prepared for tonight. I figured we'd do a half an hour. We're 10 minutes in. And I love talking to you guys and girls every day. So the floor is yours tonight. But like I say, I don't have anything prepared for today. Uh, had meetings today and whatnot. Got myself a nice new beard trim and a fresh haircut. Trying to look presentable. Jeez. William Morey, what's up, Bill? Good evening. Chris Bryan says, love the hunt. Just got out for snow geese for the first time this weekend. Great time. I saw your pictures on Facebook, Chris. And as a former goose hunting guide for dark geese, that looked like a lot of fun. And I did go on a snow goose hunt once years ago. I don't even know if it's still a website. There used to be a website that I was on called waterfowler.com. And in those days, they had chat rooms inside the websites. And I used to be in there a lot talking to guys and trying to get clients and whatever. And the whole group went up with one of the guys that was a member up by Lake Champlain. The hunt turned out to be a complete fiasco, and we killed one bird between about 15 of us. And we really didn't even kill that bird. Somebody winged it at about 55 yards straight up, shooting turkey chokes in BB size steel. And like I say, it was a complete fiasco up there. But what I will say is I'd never seen that many birds in one place. And that morning we were in a cornfield. We were in a cornfield that if it wasn't 5 square miles, it wasn't an inch. And it went all the way down to right to the shore of Lake Champlain. We were just north of Plattsburgh. And that morning we're laying in the fields and we finally get everything all set up. And like I say, it was a fiasco. But that morning when those birds that were roosted on the lake got off the water, you ever hear a backhoe dump pea stone gravel into an empty dump truck? That's what it sounded like. And when it finally kind of got to that cacophony of noise, we were that field was 5 square miles. We were at least 2 miles away from the shoreline. And you started to see this white thing like this. And it was this big tornado, and it was birds. I don't know how many. I know now I have read that they say that snow goose flock that comes down through the Champlain Valley is in upwards of 1 million birds. There were tens and tens of thousands of birds. They got up and came right to our field and kept right on flying. And they were high. I never seen that many birds of any species at any one time. The sky was just white with them. And we were, again, this was years ago. I think I was the only one that even had a goose call. And I had a snow goose call, and I'm sitting down there blowing my guts out, and it didn't make one bit of difference. I did pull one, and I say I pulled him. We did pull a single out of the group, which is what one of the guys shot at, and he winged it. And this bird sailed. Guy sent his chocolate lab after it, and after about 10 minutes of running, you couldn't see the dog anymore. That's how far away it was. So these two guys spent half the day walking down to the other end of the field and finding the bird and getting it and bringing it back. And that was our snow goose hunt. But Chris, I saw your hunt and it looked awesome. And I just didn't hunt much this year. So I'd love to get in on that too. Carl Kapfer, good evening. Bill Morey says, try open water swims where you can't see shore. Want to talk about disorientating? Oh, yeah. That's right, Bill. You do triathlons. I forgot about that. Yeah. In the summer, whenever you watch Shark Week and they talk about the people that are out distance swimming in the ocean, to me, that seems, boy, like you're asking for it. I mean, you're a lone piece of slow swimming meat out in the middle of the ocean. Yee. Um, Jim Wildbrookie says it can get creepy if you think about it. My friend swears there was something hunting him down in a remote area in the Adirondacks just last year. Again, now that something could be. So I lived in California for a couple years before I went in the military, and then I was in the military in California. And I know there are mountain lions all over out there. And my uncle, my great uncle, and my godfather took me deer hunting one time up outside of Mojave, and I was a non-resident and all that. I didn't have a license, but they did give me a 357 with one round ball and 5 snake shot, and said, "Hey, go up this ridge line, go up this draw, and go up over the top of the ridge, circle back around, and see if you can push any deer off that hill to us." Okay. I mean, I've done deer drives since I was 10 years old, but I didn't do deer drives in places where there were things that were going to eat me. And I got about a third of the way up that draw, and it was pretty boxy, and there was some high overlook positions all around this draw. I get about a third of the way up there, and I start seeing cat tracks, and I'm talking cat tracks that are, that are that big around, cat tracks, like the size of those pumpkin seeds that Eric Wisniewski's catching every day, just enormous. They look like a fender. So I stopped in my tracks, and I'm looking, and I didn't see him, but I guarantee you he saw me. And I backed my way down out of there, and I'm like, nah, we're going to go hunt someplace else. So something hunting you could be any number of things. In the Adirondacks, could certainly be a bear, could be a mountain lion. They say there's wolves up there. Doesn't have to be Bigfoot, but and like you just said, it's so remote. You can't tell me unequivocally that human beings know every square inch and what lives in every square inch, because you don't. Gary Walters, nice to have you in. We're talking about all kinds of crazy stuff tonight. So if you have something good, Gary, let us know. We'll talk about it. Kevin Stone, Matt, what measuring stations are located on water with docking if someone wanted to bring in a fish for measurement while on the water? No apologies necessary. We're going to cover this 1,000 more times, so it's no problem. We have 5 measuring.
Putty that.
We have 5. Jesus God. Measuring stations. I always want to say weighing stations, Lakeside Outfitters does not have water access. Apps Landing in Cleveland does, with dockage. Spruce Grove in Constantia does, with dockage. A&P Marina in Cicero does, with dockage. Lighthouse Park, which are Derby headquarters, does have docks with dockage water access. So 4 of our 5 right now have water access. And we have the lake, I think, pretty well covered. Don Birdie has a question. Still too early to announce bands? Yes, only because I don't know yet. That was part of our meeting today, and the person that does the bands is going to give us a list now. We agreed on terms, and now they're going to give us a list of what bands are available. We're going to do a rock band. We're going to do a country band at the very least. Friday night, we're looking at 2 bands, a country and a rock band. Selfishly, because I'm a Grateful Dead fan, I'm pushing to have at least one of the 5 or 6 bands that we're going to have be a Dead band, a Dead cover band, just because I want to let my freak flag fly. But I don't know if that's going to happen, and I don't know yet the lineup. But as soon as I will, we'll do a big announcement, because that's going to be a big deal. I'm gonna film a couple TV commercials on Friday. We're gonna start running TV commercials hopefully by the beginning of next week, if not sooner. Everybody here, like I say, that's bought a ticket, I know I'm asking a lot, but I need everyone's help. I really do. I'm asking as a personal favor to me. Share, share, share. We got to let people know the only way this is going to hit our numbers that we're looking for with contestants and prizes and all that stuff is we got to have people sign up. That's where we're at, and we're doing really well already. We're at 200 right now. I said our goal is 500 a week. Our first prize giveaway, our raffle prize, is going to be this Saturday morning. I'll announce it. So what's entry fee? I'm way behind times, Dan Kindrew said. Dan, below when we're done, or you can go to the other stuff, or you can go to while I'm talking, go to www.Oneida Lake Walleye Fest Derby.com. All one word, Oneida Lake Walleye Fest Derby.com. That's our website. And you can go through and look all through the website. We got a bunch of information up. We add information on a daily basis. And there is a page that says Derby tickets. Derby tickets are $25, and it comes with a free commemorative Derby pin with your purchase. So thanks for asking, Dan. Nice to have you with us. Don Terry, I saw some weird lights past the islands when I was shore casting for walleyes. There were 3 or 4 for a few minutes, and then they were gone. Yes, like I say, I have the light patterns out there on shore pretty well memorized as I'm coming out. Every once in a while, one will get me, or I'll see something that's a little strange, but I know what I'm looking at, and so I'm always looking for something else. Anybody or everybody, I'm sure by now, everybody saw all the Navy, the footage from the Navy pilots showing some of these anomalies, whatever they want to call them, that are doing things that our aerodynamics and technology won't allow us to do. To me, that's pretty cool. And I guess only for the very reason, I don't want to get off too far on this, but it's fascinating to me. And you think about things in this world that don't have explanations. My biggest thing is, if let's just say there is something else, then that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Let's say we can positively identify something else besides human, okay, or the animal species that we know of. That to me sounds pretty fascinating, because that just means there's more than we believed, which means everything is possible at that point, in my opinion. Chris Bryan, we were over a field, saw literally thousands of birds, had a hard time getting them to come in early, but talked a few in. Yeah, I've like I say, I only hunted them once in those snows. Listen, you put me in a field with dark geese flying, and I'll land them right in your lap, and we'll kill a bunch. I mean, I think the best year we ever had, between my guiding, and I had a group of 8 or 10 friends that we hunted certainly every weekend, hard up north and some out west. I think one year we killed 800 geese in a year, in a season, and that was a 35-day season. But those snows are different, boy, and you need huge, huge spreads to get them to come down. Dan, I got your question there. Scott Tagata, everything in the ocean wants to eat you. Yeah. Yep. That's the beauty of fresh water. Mike Urema, what's going on, buddy? Jim Wild Brookies. That's it, Courtney. Cut him off.
And he hasn't even had a drink today.
I haven't had anything today. Not a thing. Tony Della Morte, my buddy. Evening, Matt. What's the plan for Friday night party for Walleye Fest kickoff? I'm not sure if you mentioned it yet or have anything lined up. Sorry if you have to repeat yourself. Don't be sorry, Tony. So the kickoff party is at the pier. Free admission. There's going to be cash, bar, and food available inside and outside the building. We have 2 different acts, 2 different musical acts, and it's going to be just that. It's going to be a kickoff party. We're going to kick it off about probably sometime in the early afternoon, about 5 p.m., and we're going to rock out.
I'm saying.
We're going to rock out all night long till the cows come home or till 12:01. Up to you, you know. Yeah, it's going to be a meet and greet party is what it's going to be. Nothing too fancy. We're going to have food, beer, drinks, music, talk fishing, get ready for the day. You know, the kind of the cool thing is that the season will already be open. So guys could have already been out there. I mean, you could be, I suppose you could say you were pre-fishing for the Derby, but it's a singular fish derby. So you can't really pre-fish for it other than to just go out and fish and, you know, see if you find any fish. And then you got to sort through them. That's the thing about this derby. You know, it's different. It's not a tournament. It's not where you're weighing multiple fish in a combined weight situation against everybody else. It's one and done. You know, you set the hook and you're like, oh, and if it's not a sheep's head, and you come up with a big walleye, man, you're like right on. Now you could be catching walleyes all day long, left and right, boom, 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 but they're all the same size. You know, this derby's interesting in its luck and its skill and it's being in the right place at the right time. But it's fascinating that it's funny. You're going to weed through a lot of fish that normally you'd be like, oh, you know, this is the greatest, which it is the greatest to just go out and catch fish, but you're looking for that one bite. So, Rumble seat. What? No polka band?
Polka and pierogies.
Polka and pierogies. George Parsons. Good evening. Eric Wisniewski. About 7-8 years ago, Don, I seen him from Billington's Bay. We're still talking about the lights out on the lake. See what I started? Merlin Johnson. We can't be the only intelligent life in all the expanse of space. Amen, my brother. They don't call you the wizard for nothing. I haven't really tuned in. I used to love looking at some of the images from the Hubble Space Telescope, and I forget what the new one is called that they put out there, but some of these images are just incomprehensible. I don't know how else to say it. The pictures that it's sending back from deep space, and not to mention, let's really wrap your brain around space, you know, and we have no idea how to travel through it with human beings, you know, in time and distance and space and what that means in life out there and other Christ, we only talk about other planets within our solar system. That thing's sending back pictures from a, you know, I don't even know how they gauge it, from light years away, like a lot of light years. I don't even know. So human beings have the innate ability to, I guess we have the innate ability to think that we are the only ones and that we are the highest form of all life that could ever be. And that if we can't comprehend it, it can't exist. I agree with you that there has to be more. There has to be more to this life. We can get spiritual on that. We can get science fiction on that. We can get funny on that. I just believe there has to be more to what meets the eye here. You know, this physicality that is just a costume. You know, this is the costume we're wearing because the energy that makes us alive can go away in an instant. You know, and then wherever that life goes and comes from, like when you're born or when you're conceived, that energy's got to come from somewhere in to make the spark that makes life. So when that spark leaves, where's it go? it came from somewhere and it's going somewhere. So where is that? Wherever, and that's, I guess that's no different than space or heaven or whatever the hell you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. But man, and now we're getting out there. We're getting out there. We're just talking tonight, shooting the breeze. But I agree. I believe there is way more to life and to all life and in the realms of possibility than we even imagine. My only thing is there's got to be fishing wherever we go. Wherever I came from, wherever I'm going, I gotta have water and I gotta have fish. And it's funny, there are times where I've thought about, you know, how would you handle a non-physical being? Like how do you jig? How do you jig? I mean, if I'm just a ball of light, how the hell am I jigging? Gary Walters, this is a conversation for the garage.
How does Gary know about the garage?
He doesn't mean our garage, I don't think. He just means any garage. Yeah, man. And we could all talk about this. And again, on another separate note, my mother, all right, who's pushing 80 years old, will tell you the story now, just like I heard her tell it when I was a little kid. That she grew up on a house over on Long Branch Road. They were the first house on Long Branch Road. And sometime in the late 50s, early 60s, she was home alone one evening and swears. And my mother's not creative enough to come up with one of these stories, And she said she was sitting at the kitchen, or standing at the kitchen sink, and looked out the window through the back, all the way down the backyard. And again, there was nothing out there at that time. Even all the way over to 57, there was nothing there. And she said she saw something with lights come down out of the sky and land in the backyard. And she went up and hid in the closet in the attic in the back of the house. It took my grandfather 3 hours to find her when he got home. She was scared shitless. And so who knows, I don't believe that things are impossible. Look at what we've all done here. Look at what we're doing with Walleye Fest. Most people said, "No, you can't do that." So I don't believe in impossible. Jim G. Jim G says, here's my question. Can other life forms buy Walleye Fest tickets? Yes, I don't discriminate. Why would I discriminate? Money's money. So buy your ticket, get in the game, sit at the cool kids table. Joseph DePetro, a whole new demographic to buy from Amazon. You got to explain that one a little more, Joe. I'm interested.
The aliens? Is that what he means?
No, I think he means buying derby tickets on Amazon. There's a problem with Amazon, though. And I'll tell you what the problem is. If you want to sell something on Amazon, they take 95% of the profit. Right. So when I sell one of my books on Amazon, the retail price is $15. I get $1.11 out of that. This is a conversation for the garage. Oh, what you can't say, whatever the hell you want to call heaven. You can't say whatever. Oh, I just meant I don't get hung up on semantics. You can call any of that stuff anything you want. It doesn't affect me. I think if you think that there's more, and I don't, religious connotations, anything like that. It doesn't. None of that stuff bothers me. We all do a lot of partying. I don't even know what partying is. Jim Wild Brookies. I agree. There's other universes besides ours, and ours is so infinite. Space is just that space. Goes and goes to infinity. Is that what was said in that kids movie? Yeah, to infinity and beyond. So Like we don't. You're right. We don't know, and we in our scientists have never been able to find an end. But that alone, that thought alone. Now let's get back to scientific stuff. Space is just this thing, and it goes in all directions for an infinite amount of time. And as far as that telescope is looking in space in one direction, it could look in any direction, 360 degrees. In a complete sphere, it could look in any direction. It's going to see the same thing. Um, it's just it, there are times, I suppose, or if you think about it just right, it could be frightening. Um, and I'm sure it is frightening. And I'm sure that when ancient man looked up in the sky and saw a sun go up and down and a moon and it looked different on certain days, and then they'd see things twinkling in the sky. Holy shit. I mean, maybe they were so ignorant they took it for granted and they didn't really think about it. But eventually mankind got the power to discern thoughts and feelings, and then started to realize, well, holy shit, especially if that same person now with that capacity to think things through had already seen someone or something die, he'd have been like, where does that, what happened there? And then every day it gets dark, and then it gets light, and it's warm and it's cold. And what, like, where do I fit into all this? That shit those are questions. And I love this conversation. I'll be honest with you. You guys could get me in these conversations anytime you wanted. Stone ass sober too, because it's, those are real things. Now we can't explain it, and we don't have the ability because it's all theoretical, but so's a lot of stuff, fishing. Fishing is 100% theoretical, because just when you think that you have figured out the best way to do it, even if you have figured out the best way to catch a fish, there are still other ways. And so then it disproves your thesis by saying that yes, this works, but so do this, and this. And how can you can't make a definitive statement about a lot of things in the world and life. But again, let's just talk fishing. The only way you can catch, as soon as you start to say that, you guys know me, I immediately check out of that conversation, because there is no only way to do anything. How many different baits do we catch walleyes on? Well, I can think of, well, the list is endless. That's what I mean. So if that's the case, and we're not, and we don't have any definitive answers, that makes it all theoretical. So then when you say, I think that if I do this, and this in this situation, that this will be the outcome. And when the outcome comes true, and then you've proven it, you've proven your theory, but it's not the singular theory. Okay. So space and all that shit is the same thing. We know it's out there to a certain extent. We don't have any clue what else is out there with it. And when you look at some of those images, and what would we even be looking for life? We would look for life based on our understanding of life somewhere else. But what are the chances that there's anything else? I mean, we all watched Star Wars as a kid, and a lot of us, that was our real first introduction to, I think of the bar scene at Star Wars, and you had creatures of all different, walks of life, but they all had a physicality to them, because they had to be on a movie to make it interesting. But what if nothing has physicality? What if there is no physical beings, and there are just whatever? How the hell would you detect them? What would you even know to look for? Some scientist right now is sitting in some dark room looking at images on a microscope that are coming from the telescope, searching for life. But what the hell are you even searching for? I mean, you're just looking for an anomaly that might be different. Because you have no clue what life out there would mean whatsoever. We only know what life here means. Let me catch back up here. Jim Wild Brookies. By the way, I'm tying flies in my garage, in which is my man cave. Heat, AC, and a refrigerator. I'm good. Nice. Nice. My garage is unheated, which is why I'm in here all winter long. Aliens. Don Birdie, do I need the spinner for the raffle? No, it's all electronic now. We're not dealing with paper anymore, Don. We have an app that we installed that takes all the numbers and gets a random one. Thank you, though. Joseph DePetro, I'm going to need some more dabs for this broadcast. I'm not even 100%.
Buying on Amazon.
Oh, because I'm not even 100% sure what a dab is, but I mean, I have an idea, but I don't really know. But that is funny, though. Rumble Seed. The last time I heard a conversation like this, there was the aroma of wacky weed in the air. There's no wacky weed here, and I don't need it. Listen, I'm no different than I'm no different than anybody else. We all think of these things. It's a matter of articulating them and thinking them through some. And I love talking about stuff, and I love discussion and conversations. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I even like arguments, because then you get to the root of certain things a little faster. I can smell it all the way over here in Saratoga. Unfathomable, Merlin said, to think what is beyond. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. There's a skunk somewhere in the garage. You guys are killing me. That's no skunk. Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows. I love that movie. George Carlin. He was my favorite, Bob. I'll tell you.
You're in 20-year depression.
Yeah, no shit. I can. So Courtney just said he put me in a 20-year depression. I can tell you a story when I was in the barracks in Fort Ord, in Monterey, California. We were in my barracks room, my roommate and a bunch of buddies, and we were sitting around, and we were watching a George Carlin special. I don't remember exactly which one, but this would have been in the early 90s. And I don't remember exactly what Carlin said, but if you guys like Carlin, you know how he's very esoteric in things that he says. And he said something that made me realize that I wasn't immortal. I wasn't going to live forever. And you guys laugh, but at the time I was like 19 or 20 years old. I was in the military. Uncle Sam had trained me to kill. I was a combat soldier, and I never thought about my own mortality. I never considered that there would be an end date. And at that time in my life, no one close to me had ever passed away yet, really. And so I never really considered it. And what he said got in here so bad that it messed me up for a long time, because I couldn't come to terms with what it meant to no longer be here. And then it went into what some of the stuff we've already been talking about. Then it went into, okay, what ifs, and it I'm okay with it now. My mindset has changed. I've learned, I've grown, I've matured, but for a long time that messed me up, because I'd never really thought about it. And then when you think the world will go on the day after you're no longer here, And that's not a morbid thought. That's none of that stuff. It's just it's the truth. And so, like we talked about earlier, if our energy came from somewhere and it's going somewhere, then no greater thing. Again, this is so when you talk about like ghosts, you watch all these shows on TV, ghost hunters and all that stuff, and they're trying to unequivocally prove to you that there is spirits and ghosts and all that stuff. I'm all for it, because if you prove that, then that means that I don't have to be afraid anymore, because there is more and you do go somewhere else. And so then it doesn't carry the same weight of what it did for me before. Does that make sense? I know we're all over the place out here tonight. It doesn't matter. We're having fun. It's a great conversation, but I don't know. We'll keep going. Yeah, Carlin was the best. Don Birdie says, check out Bubba J on alien abduction. They stuck something in my butt, and not in a good way. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's the dummy from Jeff Fox, or Jeff Dunham. I almost said Jeff Foxworthy. That's funny. Andrew Costello, longtime watcher, first post. Great job you're doing. Having issue finding website. Was on it once. Search 2023 Walleye Fest in Ida Lake. One says won't load. Other says domain not connected. I know we're having some issues. It's www.Oneida Lake Walleye Fest Derby, all one continuous word.com. So give that a try, Andrew. Thanks for joining us too, by the way. It's always nice when I see new names in the screen. Yeah, my web designer is Mark is working on it, and we're not quite sure what's going on, but I even tried typing in just Oneida Lake Walleyefest.com earlier, and it told me that the domain was reserved, but it didn't take me to the site. So we'll find out. Okay, Mark says it's down now, working on it. He mentioned in the comments. Okay, so that was an interesting 45 minutes. We talked a little bit about fishing, but not much. And I'm dying to get out soon. Looks like the weather is gonna perk up a little bit towards the end of the weekend, and I'm itching to go do something. I gotta get out of the house, and I've been sitting working on Walleye Fest for 18 hours a day at my desk, and I need to get out and do some fishing, and I got to bend a couple rods big time. So, any last questions before we say goodnight? See you guys tomorrow. All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Thanks for fun. Thanks for a nice conversation. Yeah. Jim G says, hope the water level will be okay. Need to close the dam, no runoff. Yeah. Like I say, the everything's down about 3 feet, which is a lot of water. But I'm sure, I hope state DOT, because they're the ones who control the dam. I hope they know what they're doing. I'm sure they do. They've been doing it a long time. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for a great evening. Thanks for a great conversation. I love you guys. And hey, keep your tip up.